Hi, this is Mandy with the Alva Public Library, and today I will be talking about Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH and its movie counterpart. And of course, we have the 2-in-1 DVD, which has Timothy on front from The Secret of NIMH 2, which is not the best sequel. So what I'm actually talking about is this movie right here, the 1982, the original movie, which was awesome, and I watched it over and over as a child. I love Secret of NIMH. And when I was in elementary school, our school library had this book, and there's a book 2 and book 3 that are also very good, but they were written by a different author. I don't know if he died or if another author was just like, well, let's continue this series. I'm not sure what happened there. This one was written in 1971. And so, here we go. Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH. It's about a mouse named Mrs. Frisby, and her son Timothy comes down with pneumonia. Now, this wouldn't be too bad, except that the farmer is about to plow the field where they live, and they need to move to their summer house in the forest. However, Timothy can't be moved because he's ill. And so Mrs. Frisby goes on a quest, let's call it a quest, to figure out a way to save Timothy. So first she goes to Mr. Ages, who's a wise old mouse, and he gives them medicine. And Timothy does get better, but not enough to move from to move to the summer house and avoid the tractor. He's still in danger and can't be moved. So next she tries, and she's like, I'm not smart enough to figure this out. Who's smart? The great owl is smart, except she's really hesitant to go visit him because owls eat mice. But she has befriended a crow named Jeremy, who was like, I'll take you, it'll be okay, and it's all right, let's go. And so she heads out. She's got to try and save Timothy. And so she goes and visits the owl, and the owl advises her, like, I don't have anything for you. I don't know what you should do. And then she mentions her name before she leaves, and he's like, whoa, hold up. You're Mrs. Frisby, married to Jonathan Frisby? And she's like, yes, how do you know him? Oh, I can't tell you that. But anyway, you should go visit the rats. I'm like, rats? And Mrs. Frisby knows about the rats. She's like, they're a strange bunch, and they live in the rose bush, and they're stealing stuff from the farmhouse, and I don't know. But he's like, tell them who you are, and they can help you out. So she's like, okay. And so she goes and visits the rats in the rose bushes. And it turns out they had been experimented upon at NIMH, and now they are superhuman smart and can solve problems. And so I'll leave it there so I don't spoil the end of the book. And so the differences between the book and the movie. Now, in the movie, it has magical elements, which is totally non-existent in this book. In the book, it's very straightforward. We're animals. There's the humans. The animals do wear clothing, at least in the pictures they show, but they do live in holes, or at least Mrs. Frisby, and they scavenge food and so forth, like real normal mice. Except the Rats of NIMH, they've like totally done up their place with stained glass and electricity, and life is good. So the animals have some human characteristics, but this is a more down-to-earth, whereas the Secret of NIMH movie, we had a magical jewel and this kind of flashback machine scene. And so they introduced a magical sense in the movie, whereas the book does not have that. Another difference is, Nicodemus. And Nicodemus in the movie, he's all got the long whiskers, and is a wizard and all draped up, whereas in the book, they have him all buffed out and has an eye patch on. He is really interesting. And so, I think it might have been this way. Yeah. And another thing is the rats. In the movie, you only met like Nicodemus and Justin. And all the rest of the rats were these menacing big guys in the background. But in this one, you get to see quite a few more. Okay, there's Nicodemus. This big rat with the eye patch. You get to meet quite a few, or a few more rats, and get to know their personalities. And they're more normal. Or you get to see their personalities and see that they're not this big, huge, mysterious threat. Which in the movie, they kept up the threat and mystery around them by only showing you a few characters. And so, those are some differences. And the main antagonist in the movie was Jenner. He was the big bad guy, mustache twirling. Whereas in Secret of NIMH, or the book, Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH, we never actually meet Jenner. We meet up with Nicodemus instead of like in the movie where they had this montage flashback really right quick. He goes on for several chapters retelling the whole story of the Rats of NIMH. You get a lot more information on them. Where they come from, where they got captured, how long they were in the science place, how they escaped and came to be there and gained their knowledge. And so anyway, Jenner is told all through the flashback, and you do hear a little bit more of him from a secondary source, but Mrs. Frisby never meets Jenner in the book. So he wasn't the main antagonist. This book is mainly just the problem of saving Timothy. Another thing that I found interesting about this book was the scientists. Nicodemus tells of their time there, and this book doesn't vilify it like books more modern do nowadays. Nicodemus said, yes, we were fed, kept warm, they were very gentle with us, but he did say in the end, we were still in cages and not free. So this book didn't vilify the scientists and their experiments. And it goes into great detail on how they experimented on them. And it was just them. They did get shots, but then a lot of it was running through mazes and learning how to read. And the rats became smart, figured out all these tools, and used them to escape. And so, yes. I very much enjoyed this book. I don't know if younger readers nowadays with the fast pace and characters and stuff would enjoy it. But when I got to the end of a chapter, I was like, and then what happened? Finish the chapter. And then what happened? It kept me really hooked. Back to Nicodemus and Jenner, there was a conflict between them in the flashback, but it was only because they had different ideas on what the rats should do. Nicodemus wants to make their own society and not live off the farmers and humanity. He read about old European monks, Christian monks, and their monastery lifestyle, and he's like, why don't we be like that? Let's go off to some secret place, build our own buildings, farm our own crops. Let's gather up our supplies. Let's go out and do that and live totally away from people. Whereas Jenner, he wanted to stay next to humans. Like, what is wrong with this? Let's just take what they have, and they already have electricity and tools. We can just build off of them. Let's live as we are living now. And so that's what the conflict in this book is about. And which was slightly touched upon in the movie, but it didn't really, it's semi-explained that they didn't want to live off the humans anymore and didn't want to steal. They wanted to be their own group. But it went much more deeper into, the book went much deeper into the subject. So I really enjoyed rereading this book, and I would recommend it. Also the movie. The movie is awesome as well. So that was my thoughts and review on Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH.